What's good? You are watching and listening to Daniel and Gian Talk Shit. First episode of 2019.
I think we're on episode 77.
We're on episode whatever,
78.
Yeah,
something.
we got so much content on YouTube, and I mean, not counting like the movie reviews that we've put up on iTunes and SoundCloud as well. I mean, we're up there. We've had a few.
Yeah, welcome back to our SoundCloud listeners.
Yeah, welcome back, guys.
Or iTunes listeners, I should say.
And I think we should start this episode off with, talking about what our New Year's goals are, even though we're a third of the way through with the year already.
Dude, it's fucking... I can't believe it's April already.
People keep saying shit like that, and I guess my life is so miserable that it doesn't...
just stopped.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like...
It just inches by.
It's April. It's like, yeah, it's April. And I've been waiting for it to become April now for a while.
Why? Because it's tax season?
Oh, dude, there's just, money problems. I mean,
Avengers.
We go down the list, people talking about Aquaman like it's a good movie. People...
In April?
No, I'm just saying, like, what we've gone through
since our last show.
Since our last show, the things that have happened. I don't even remember what the last thing we talked about was. I feel like maybe it was a movie review. Not quite
Probably
sure.
something rapey.
Probably, something creepy, something...
No, I'm serious. It was probably Brett Kavanaugh or, like, some Me Too shit.
Right. Isn't that funny? Let's talk about Me Too real quick. I feel like
it's gone.
It's done.
It's gone.
It's completely disappeared. Like, nobody...
I mean, it's not gone, but, like, it's
yeah,
not
but,
like...
it's not
Do you think that's because they got everybody? Or... Or like,
if they got everybody, it turns out it wasn't as big a problem as people tried to make it out to be.
Are you trying to say that the people were Me Too'd or wasn't that big of an issue?
Well, I guess the new Me Too is Joe Biden, and what's going on with that.
That's true.
But
he's Joe Biden, but it's like he's not being Me Too'd.
Right.
He'll still run for president.
He's like the Democratic equivalent to Donald Trump when it comes to these charges.
Well, they're supposed to fight, remember?
They just slide right off of them.
They're supposed to fight, remember?
I mean, I'm down to see them debate, to be honest with you.
No, fight.
No, I know.
Fight.
They went at each other on Twitter back before Donald.
Would you pay, if that was on a UFC card, would that entice you to buy it?
I don't want to watch two 70-year-old men fight.
Why not? One of them is going to die. Both of them could die in the ring
Donald
before
Trump
they make
versus
it.
Joe Biden death match.
Well, they wouldn't kill each other. I didn't say that. I just said one would die.
Like 2 weeks later or something?
No, like it would be like Dada 5000 versus Kimbo Slice.
Where he actually died and had to go
He died after the fight, and then they had to resuscitate him.
Right.
Is he dead now?
No, I think
I know Kimbo's dead.
Yeah, Kimbo died.
Not related to that fight, but
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Speaking of death, we got one of your favorite rappers died that you just heard about 6 months ago.
One of my favorite rappers, yeah.
The King of LA, apparently. Apparently the Guardian of LA, as I've been learning on Twitter, all these people coming out saying
Indeed. It's unfortunate. I was talking to Daniel.
You know how he died?
He got shot 6 times.
But do you know how, do you know, what was the reason for it?
Apparently he got into, a fist fight with some dude, and the dude came back and shot him up. That's what they're saying.
It had to do with snitching. Apparently the guy that came snitched on something, and so Nipsey was like, dude, you're not to sell anything to this guy. I don't know what the snitching was about, and so...
Oh, so dude was, excommunicated?
Basically, yeah. And then that's when he came back, yeah.
Okay, so they didn't get into a fight then officially.
I mean, they might have gotten into
a fight. I heard something about physical altercation.
But all my hood people have been saying that's what the reason was.
That dude was a snitch?
That dude was a snitch.
So dude snitched for nothing then?
I don't know what they snitched on or what it was all about.
I'm just saying, he's going to prison now.
So. Oh, he's done now. Yeah. They already got him.
So he snitched for nothing is what I'm saying.
LAPD was on it. I don't know if they were trying to prevent a riot, trying to prevent
Well, there was a riot.
Violence.
There was a riot earlier this week.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
because they put his picture on blast on Twitter. It was like, this is his name. This is what he looks like.
That's a straight death warrant. Go and get your boy.
I think they knew that too. They were kind of like, if he gets shot, less paperwork for us.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's unfortunate that all this stuff's going down.
I know it's Tupac 2.0, bro. Don't you know?
Man, yeah, that's insane. We were talking about this earlier, but that dude is I'll be honest with you guys. I had heard the name Nipsey Hussle over the years, but I'd never heard his music. So I was just he's just another underground LA rapper. probably doing gangster shit, and that's why he's not popular, because he's doing shit that's like not mainstream, not national. You know, he's not mumble rapping or whatever. And then the last album dropped, and I checked it out on Spotify. Actually, it came up on a playlist from Spotify, and I was like, okay, kind of digging this. And I listened to it, and I found out he got nominated for a Grammy for the album.
His first real album, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he'd been making music forever.
But it was all mixtapes and stuff.
Yeah. I first heard him 2 years ago, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, the girl who showed me him was obsessed with
But you're not a rap guy either. So
yeah, it was just, for me, it was like, whatever.
Right.
But, like, she was into it. She liked the fact that he was true to what he was doing.
Right.
And so, like, at least that message that's been resonating, I know has been there for a while.
Yeah.
Because if some chick from Saudi Arabia is boasting about the guy and talking about it like that, A, she's not from LA, so I took it with a little bit of, like,
right.
you know.
Like, how gangster is this guy?
But, and then you start hearing everything. But my thing is, it's like XXX, whatever his name is.
All right. XXX Tentacion.
Him. How all of a sudden he was like this musical fucking legend after he died.
Yeah.
But yet no one was fucking talking. Like, the only time I ever heard Nipsey Hussle being mentioned was after he released the Fuck Donald Trump song.
Right.
That's it. Since, like, forever.
That's YG.
No, it's him.
But that's YG.
But I'm saying,
I think he might have been on that track.
He
but
was.
I think that's YG's track.
Regardless, you probably should double check that. But I know that they were on. That's what like. Doesn't matter. Point is though, that's what people were repping.
Yeah.
Like, when that song came out, that's when, in my mind, I thought, oh, people are finally hearing about this guy now because of this Donald Trump song. But you know, I mean, I guess he was good for the community and all that stuff. You know, you can't shame that. You can't talk bad about it. But I just feel like it's very weird that people come out of the woodworks.
Not to put a damper on the situation.
It wasn't his song?
It was YG, and it was with G-Eazy and Macklemore, so he wasn't even on. He might have been on a remix of the track, but the actual track that hit the mainstream, he was not on it.
All I'm saying is though, that's how I found out about the song, because he's like, he did a song. But
he did do it. There's another version of the song.
Okay,
well.
so then that's the one I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, point is though, you know, it's good that he was giving back to the community, but I don't know.
No, it's amazing. I never knew about any of the stuff he was doing until he's dead. Like, now people are
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like
he's everybody's best friend. They've been down with him since Jump. You know, because I've never seen anybody post about Nipsey Hussle other than people that are like hardcore, like hip hop, like fans.
Well, I didn't even know he was doing half the shit that he was doing.
Which
is fucked up. Which, in my opinion, is fucked up about the whole rap community. Because they're willing to fucking, let's talk about Tekashi 6ix9ine. Let's talk about this. Let's share this fucking post about what's going on World Star and all this shit. But no one's talking about what he's doing over here.
Well, positivity doesn't sell, man.
I know. It's some commentary about the. I mean, to be honest.
I mean, XXX Tentacion, which I hate that name. I always thought it was XXX Temptation.
Well, he's dead now, so.
Yeah.
It probably has to do with this
I
name.
knew kids liked him, and when I say kids, I mean like 14 and under. You know, like my little cousins are into.
Well, that's isn't he?
You know, and he was in the news all the time because he like allegedly beat his
women?
pregnant girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had.
But that doesn't matter, bro. Once you're dead, people
you're
forget
dead,
about that.
yeah.
It's just about the music.
He was a genius.
I just wish people would feel that way about Hitler. You know.
He's dead now. Oh my God.
He's dead now. Can't you look at him as
strike from the record?
The
man.
family man that he was. He was married. He was a good, probably a good father.
That joke is not going to go over well. It is not going to go over well. We just got flagged.
Why not? It's funny though.
Now we're on the fucking alt-right.
I think if people listen to this and they're like, God damn, Daniel really believes that. He wishes Hitler would be reevaluated. I think they have problems.
Or our enemies.
Should I have used like Genghis Khan? Like, we need to reevaluate him. It's like him being dead that long.
The funny thing about Genghis Khan is that there are people out there who admire Genghis Khan.
That's what I'm fucking.
Yeah.
But yet he raped everybody, pillaged all the villages on the planet.
Right.
Like, there allegedly that everyone has like his genetic lineage because he raped so many fucking people.
I mean, put it this way, bro. There's a line from one of the greatest movies ever made. Very classic. It's called Cliffhanger. And
Sylvester Stallone.
John Lithgow says, you kill 10 people, you're a murderer. You kill 1 million, you're a conqueror. and that's the way we look at Genghis Khan.
So wouldn't you want to take an alternate look at some of these figures in history?
Well, I think
why is Hitler the only one that you just, no matter what?
Because it's relatively recent.
But I'm saying we don't talk about Stalin, we don't talk about Mao, we don't talk about fucking Thomas Jefferson, or no, Thomas Jefferson. Who the fuck is it? Who's the guy on the $20 bill?
Oh, you're talking about Jackson.
Andrew Jackson. We don't talk about Andrew Jackson that way. No, despite the fact that he killed all those Indians.
He killed brown people.
That's so. Well, so are you? Well, I can't even say it because then we'll definitely get flagged.
Look, man, Stalin killed his own people, so nobody gives a shit. Jackson killed brown people, so nobody gives a shit. Mao killed his own people, so nobody gives a shit. But Hitler killed another community of people.
Well, according to our Indian audience, Churchill killed Indians, and no one gives a fuck about that.
Also brown people. So Hitler killed a bunch of now white people. I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole today, you know.
Well, I know, because there's a whole can of worms that we literally cannot get into.
You're right. But Hitler killed a lot of European people in general, including Russians, killed a lot of Russians.
I'm trying to think of any other historical leaders who...
I mean, the Turks
killed white people.
Nobody else that I can think of. The Turks killed all the Armenians.
What about Napoleon?
No, I don't think Napoleon led a genocide of any sort. It was war. It was a little different.
I guess that's true. Maybe that's why. Don't fuck with white people. I guess that's the moral of the story, right? Otherwise, you're going to be tainted forever.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's a weird jump. We went from fucking Nipsey Hussle to Hitler to genocide.
Well, you're trying to forgive people for killing tons of people.
I'm not trying to do anything. I was making a joke. I mean,
I get it. I get the joke.
I think people. I don't know. I do believe that you should be able to look at people in different lights, though.
Right.
I'm waiting for this to be reutilized later, like in 5 years, when fucking I have, X, Y, or Z coming out, and they're like, clip on surfaces.
Right.
Fucking blah, blah, blah.
Right. You gotta keep the full clip.
I mean, the reality is we've said a lot of shit that probably will come back to bite us in the ass.
Absolutely.
On this, in the history of everything. Because I don't even remember half the shit we talked about.
We're racist for the Jay-Z video.
Mm-hmm.
Because
we don't understand the black plight.
Well, we're not allowed to ever
talk about black problems.
Well, never to ever say the N-bomb.
Well, that's of course true anyway, Gian. You should know better than that.
Yeah. That's
a no-no word.
Yeah. Forget the context. Context doesn't matter.
Forget the context. Forget the fact that saying the N-word is pretty much just as bad as saying the actual fucking word itself. Because if I say, "What's up, my N-word?" Is that inappropriate?
I mean, it depends on. It's all context. It depends on what company's around.
If I just went around to black people and I was like, "What's up, N-words?" Just like that. Would that be appropriate?
How many people would be violent with you, and how many people would just be like...
But I'm not saying the N-word, bro.
No?
I'm just saying N-word.
No, I get you.
I could be saying, what's up, my nice people?
This is true.
What's up, my, I don't know. What's another word with N that's not racist?
Right. No, I get it, man. I get it. And, that's... How do you feel about the political climate that we're in right now? We're in such a weird place, and it's getting weirder and weirder and weirder.
What's funny is the moment we stop doing podcasts,
it's like when all the good stuff starts happening.
And then I stop paying attention to all of it.
Right.
I don't know. Donald Trump really made me not give a shit about any of that stuff.
Well, the funny thing is that Donald Trump is going to win again, and I'm saying it right now. We're recording this on April 3rd at 12:26 Pacific Standard Time.
Alt-right.
I'm not saying I'm voting for him.
This is the alt-right podcast.
This is.
We talk about Hitler. We talk about Trump winning.
I'm just looking at it in this light.
Bernie's gonna win.
Bernie's not gonna win,
and he's gonna die before he gets.
I think Bernie had some buzz going. That buzz is gone. It's not there anymore.
I don't know. I think going into 2020, he's gonna be in the conversation.
I think Donald Trump has to do some catastrophic stuff.
No, he doesn't. He's done catastrophic shit. It doesn't matter.
No, with his policies. Every promise that he's made has not been is in limbo. Everything's in limbo. So people are giving him time.
You get the facade that he's doing everything.
Right.
I mean, he said, we'll get to healthcare after 2020 election.
Right.
That's what he said. And maybe he does. Maybe he fixes healthcare. I'd love it if...
I mean, I don't think he gets anything done, but that's neither here nor there. But my point is, like, the reason why George H. Bush didn't win was because he made a promise, no new taxes. It's a very infamous clip of him saying at a presser or at a rally, no new taxes, and immediately he had to eat his words, and that's what cost him the.
What would you? I mean, what could Trump possibly?
It's just
do?
Historically speaking, it's very rare for.
Historically speaking, we've never had a Twitter president.
This is true.
But what I'm saying, Obama's the first internet president. The internet got Obama elected.
Okay.
And then Trump is the first social media president.
And what I'm saying to you is, what has Trump done to not win the second term?
Oh, I'm saying, what could he possibly do to not be reelected? It's the same question.
Like I said, it'd have to be something catastrophic.
Like what though?
Like some sort of huge attack where he was talking about protecting the borders or something. Like 1 million Mexicans invade and kill like
a bunch of white people?
10,000 white people.
It'd have to be white people.
It would have to be white people.
If they invaded Mexico and
Yeah.
they bombed El Paso and they just killed all the Mexicans there,
nobody would care.
they would just be like
goddamn, underneath their breath, get them goddamn beaners.
Trump would go down there and start free throwing some paper towels at them like he did in Puerto Rico.
Exactly.
I mean, look at Puerto Rico.
The other thing would have to be
no one gave a fuck about that.
No one did. No, because Puerto Ricans we're not looked. We're second-class citizens. That's.
I know. You're fake Americans.
Yeah. The only other thing would be something financial, like
stock market.
The stock
crash.
market, like legitimately, like not plunging a few points, like boom, crashing where everybody lost their jobs. Stuff like that.
Because we don't have to worry about war.
Right.
That was the big thing for Bush, was putting us into war,
right.
Which we're still in. So that's out of the question. He already bombed like people unprovoked when he dropped that father of all bombs, like with the first 2 months of his presidency,
right.
To test it out and kill all those Taliban people or whoever it was, Al Qaeda, whichever terrorist organization.
Probably a lot of innocent.
Probably, but that's what you got to do. You got to flex that muscle.
Yeah.
I mean, he's met with Kim twice.
Right. Nothing's happened.
Praised Kim multiple times.
Yeah.
No one cares. Like, people forget. Like, that's kind of my whole point. Not my whole point, but it's ironic I bring up Hitler, but then we have one of those dictators alive right now, and he's the head of North Korea, and our current president is literally like, yeah, he's a good man. I trust him. I do whatever. And he's saying this on Twitter, like in person, but we don't ever go, like, I would assume the people who are supporters of him would be anti that, but they're like right up his ass for everything.
Dude, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense with his supporters and just people in general. Like I've come to the realization that I think now I am socially conservative. I'm not so liberal when it comes to social stuff, but I'm like fiscally liberal.
I think I'm the opposite. I think I'm the opposite, but it makes no sense because...
But there's just things out there that don't make sense to me with a lot of supporters on either side.
Well, no, it doesn't make sense for me to be the opposite of you, because if you're going to be socially liberal but fiscally conservative, it's like an oxymoron, because you're going to continually to hate the programs that you want to support to help other people out, because
right.
You have to pay for all those fucking programs. Like...
Fiscally liberal, socially conservative.
No, I believe in... I think free healthcare should exist.
Yeah.
I think that should be a real thing. I think schools should also be free. If you want to go to private institutions, let them charge money. But in terms of... But do I want to pay more money for it? No.
There's a lot of stuff.
Do I want to throw that on to rich people? Because my inevitable goal is to enter those levels, and then as soon as I have that money, I'm going to be like, fuck paying all that.
Right.
Like, I'm completely real about that. I feel like people aren't. They think, let's just tax the rich people because A, they have no ambitions to get there, or B, they think if they're there, they have no problem paying all that shit. But it's like, if you make fucking $1 million and you're losing half right off the bat for doing nothing because you have to support all these people, now all of a sudden you have the pressure to help the people out.
Yeah, and
But why? If that's what...
I think...
America's not built upon that.
I think that's the big problem with America right now is that the society is built on punching down and that's basically what you're doing is punching down because you're like, what the fuck, all these people underneath me. And also, I don't think that people aren't wealthy because they're not fucking ambitious. I think there's a lot more things.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that.
In play. Like there, I mean, it's a part of it.
I think people get content
what you said,
at the level
what
that
you
they're
said
at.
makes perfect sense. There are people out there. I don't want to tax rich people because they honestly think that they can get to that level at some point. And I personally think that it's impossible for you to get to that point unless you are extraordinary.
Or you're a son of one of those people.
Or there's two ways of becoming filthy rich. One is having extraordinary superhuman talents.
Or create Amazon.
We can't. I don't know Jeff Bezos' story, man.
He created Amazon with his wife like in a garage.
Okay.
Because at the time no one was doing that because the internet was just starting.
Right.
So you have to wait for a new internet to come out and then capitalize on that immediately, and then potentially you can get.
Okay, but what was he doing before that?
I don't think anything.
He was just sitting at home, fucking around. He was working at McDonald's.
I don't know, but I don't.
These are important details that when people try to sell
I know
me,
it's like Steve Jobs living where he lived and then having the luxury to work out of his garage.
Yeah, like we know as filmmakers, there's people we went to school with who are out making films all the time.
Nice people.
Nice people. Not saying they're bad people, but they have been given financial flexibility to go out and do this.
They never had to go to a film school where the only cameras that were given were like some fucking cheap, shitty cameras that any of our phones today could shoot better things with. And then you have to use the one camera for the entire fucking multiple different classes. And like not have to worry about sound. Like that was me at Compton Community. That was my first filmmaking.
Right.
Some shitty fucking... People nowadays start with Reds. They start with the Alexa. They start with all this shit. And then, I mean, I told you about
But
this.
I'm not even talking about film school. I'm talking after school.
Oh, I know, because they've already... That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I had to go through all that shit, it's just like anything else. If you have to suffer, I think you're going to ultimately end up a better person.
Right.
As opposed to you never suffering, and then you're going to hate yourself. You're going to fucking think of, I personally think that's why so many white people are killing themselves.
So they're bitter? They're just sad?
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
They lack purpose?
Their people have been elevated so much. It's just like, fuck, man, the life's too good. Let's just kill myself. I mean, really, some of these people that kill themselves, you got to think, what the fuck? I mean, there's drugs. Drugs is a big part of it. But why are they taking these drugs?
Exactly.
Why the fuck are they that depressed, allegedly, if they're, superstars and all this shit?
Well, let's talk about that, man. I think there's something to it. I think there's a cultural thing involved here that people are like never really talk about because they like to criticize. They like to punch down.
Beaners like to punch up too.
I think punching up is different than punching down.
I don't think it's always. I think if you continue to try to punch each other, it's never gonna fucking.
I mean, there's that as well.
But anyway, go ahead. I interrupted you.
I think something that no one really discusses is when you think of white families, their family core, their circle. They don't have any sort of family. They don't have the same type of family values that Hispanic people have, or black people, or Asians.
Any fucking ethnicity.
Any ethnicity has. There's that nuclear family that's from the 1950s on is different than whatever. We still have relationships. We don't put our parents in nursing homes,
Unless they have fucking serious
unless
ailments,
it's
Alzheimer's.
Unless it's get to a point where you can't manage by yourself anymore.
Because you can't live your life.
But even then, both my grandparents, 3 of my 4 grandparents had Alzheimer's.
Oh, I know.
And we took care of them in the house.
That's what I'm saying. Under extreme circumstances is the only time that would even be considered.
There's no absolutes here, obviously, but yeah.
For the most part.
I mean, how much of that plays a factor into this? Not having that family core, having strained relationships with your parents because they either A, were not around, or B, they may have been emotionally abusive. Obviously there's emotionally abusive people in every community, but I feel like people of color, at least browns and black people, or brown and black people, tend to be the browns.
That's a good classification.
I feel like they tend to be more physically abusive rather than mentally abusive.
I can't comment on that. I don't know.
Well, I know because you're.
But I will say, I've definitely seen way more black people, and assuming Mexican, they could be Guatemalan, they could be a bunch of other fucking. They all look the same. I mean, let's just be honest here. They all look the same. They beat their kids way more than like white people that I've seen.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean you go to the South and you're not going to see some whoopings going on.
No, definitely not.
Like, it depends on where you're at.
People from the South aren't killing themselves either.
This is true.
You know.
But because I told you I went to the aquarium and I texted you.
Right.
And I was there, and this little girl, small little Mexican girl, pulls the fire alarm, and I watch her do it. And I'm at the age now, you know, if I was like 10, 11, 12, I would have freaked out.
Right.
Because I don't know about you, but like they taught me, that's an emergency. Don't touch it. Like if you touch it, you're gonna get in trouble.
You obviously
like,
didn't grow up in a place where people were pulling the fire alarms all the time.
No, because this is like private school. That's what I'm saying. Once I got to high school, and then you realize like, oh, it's there.
Yeah.
If it gets pulled, it's not gonna really fuck anything up. Well, they pulled the fire alarm, and then the mom like freaked out, and then immediately like put it back up so it stopped. I actually didn't know you can do that. I thought once you pull it, it's on. Like,
right.
Because that's what they would tell us.
And the professionals have to come.
That's
over.
what they would tell us, that the fire department would have to come down and turn it off.
I mean, I thought the same thing until right now. So.
Well, it didn't. It turned off.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because it was for like it's a kid thing.
Yeah.
Well, she proceeded to turn it back off, and then slap the living fuck out of this little girl. And I mean like, bam, like hard. It wasn't like a bend you over and spank you on. Like, no, it was like
slapped her in the face.
And then boom. And you could tell she was a younger Mexican mom.
Right.
Too, like, you know, not that necessarily makes it any different, but you know, and the kid
there's
cried
class
for
and education behind all of these things.
5 to 10 minutes straight, just crying and crying and crying and crying, like never stopped. It actually, I had to leave that part of the exhibit because I was tired of listening to the fucking little girl cry.
Right.
But I will say, at no point did I say, man, should I call the cops?
Right.
Should I report this lady?
Well, you mind your own business.
Which I think that's a Hispanic thing too.
Yeah.
Or just an ethnic thing. Because I feel like if that was in like LA and then Sally saw this Mexican woman hit her kids, LAPD might be there or not. This Mexican woman,
I believe her name is Becky.
Becky. What did I say, Sally?
Yeah.
Excuse me. But you know, I don't know. But what was your point though in bringing up the whole family?
No,
thing?
I think like if you unpack all of these people who.
So you think they're killing themselves because they don't have families?
I think that might be a part of it. You know, how you grew up, how, you know, this lack. I just watched.
I mean, it's not white guilt.
I just watched I just watched The Dirt, which is the Motley Crue biofilm. And full disclosure, terrible film.
I haven't seen it yet.
It was entertaining, but
I've heard it was good.
It was entertaining. It wasn't good. It just felt like a Lifetime movie with a lot
from
of.
The director of Jackass.
There you go.
I don't think he's ever made a actual film before.
Yeah.
So
there's a little bad there's some bad acting. There's a lot of stuff wrong with it. If you're a Motley Crue fan, you know, I guess you get to learn a little bit about it. There's a lot of talking to the camera, you know, like
I don't know what I guess
a lot of breaking the fourth wall.
I didn't even know they were gonna do it.
You know, but Nikki Sixx kind of goes through why he was the way he was, why he became a drug addict, because his dad left when he was 2 years old, and his mom was like, you know, a fucking human pincushion, you know. So there was like this revolving door of men coming in.
Was she hot in the movie?
No, she was an old lady.
Oh.
She was like in her 40s, kind of slutty looking, you know. Maybe that's, you know, what's going on. She was thin.
That's all you need for a lot of people.
Right. Yeah, he did what he did because he had a hole in his heart, man. He had a void, which is directly. I mean, this is also an extreme, obviously, of bad family dynamic.
But he went and made Motley Crue. So.
I mean.
And he's not dead yet. He hasn't killed himself.
I mean, he has not killed himself. He technically died.
So he did. Maybe
he died and got resuscitated in the ambulance.
But that was probably a drug overdose,
right? It was
right?
an OD, yeah. But that is killing yourself. Like
well, I think people now are not accidentally killing.
No, they're doing it.
I think they're genuinely fucking doing it.
Well, he did it after he saw his mom. Like his manager flew his mom in to see him, and he hadn't seen his mom in like 20 years. and then he didn't want to see his mom. Like, he'd been avoiding her phone calls and stuff.
I always feel that's fucking weird.
So that's when he went on
why
Spender.
the fuck would that make you? Why would that? How could that drive you to wanting to like? I guess if it was an accidental overdose, but I don't know.
It's just medicating yourself, man. Because
that's what I'm saying. I guess it's like an accidental.
Yeah.
Because for me, I don't know. That wouldn't make me like.
But who are you referring to specifically in like white people killing themselves?
What do you mean?
Like, you want to use an
Oh,
example.
I mean,
like Anthony Bourdain, or
Well, that I don't even know. That's a mystery to me.
So conspiracy, you got conspiracy.
I don't have conspiracy theories, but but they are that whole shit with his girlfriend and him paying off whatever that was related to that Me Too shit. I don't know if that's why you would kill yourself. That's a weird one because I don't think there's.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think the jury's still out on that.
Yeah.
I think they kind of just don't investigate and they just assume like, oh well.
Right.
It's a sad thing. But no one comments on that shit though. I feel like every time a suicide comes out, or anytime people attempt suicide or anything, people always post statuses or comments like Brody Stevens.
Right.
I don't know why he killed himself. People were saying that his comedy special had dropped recently and the reception wasn't the best.
I mean, but he's had the long years of mental illness as well.
Well, but I guess what I'm saying is when he died, since he was the most recent example, you always see this when celebs or whatever die, kill themselves. Here's the suicide hotline number. Always reach out. Always
right.
You never feel like you can't come with me with your problems or something, or things like that. And I brought this up before in a previous podcast, but one of my friends I grew up with, or not grew up with, when I went to high school with, he always he almost always posts when one of these things, I'm fucking tired of seeing these stupid fucking posts, because I've reached out to people when I've wanted to kill myself, when I've been that fucking suicidal, and people will just tell me to grow up, man up, it's not that big of a deal,
right?
All these things, whatever. So he thinks it's all bullshit. That these are all, and I kind of agree with that too. I mean, I don't know if you remember back in the day, it doesn't really exist anymore, but in the MySpace days, and kind of early Facebook was like this, here's a poor girl dying,
right?
Like this status for Jesus, or something whatever it was, and it's kind of like that. I think it's a new version of that. I don't know if people really care about that shit. The people who are posting this stuff.
It's tough to gauge because we're in such a like my status, look at me place right now with things.
Cause I guess what I'm saying is I question people who post those statuses. Yeah. Not everybody.
But I can see you have reason to question their validity.
But it prevents me from posting. Who was it? I don't know, someone who committed suicide. It wasn't Brody. It was someone. I was like, fuck. This. But I was like, man, I don't want to post about it because I don't even want to remotely be perceived as someone who's cashing in on someone else's day. Right. But it's just I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at here, to be honest with you, because I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Well,
that started this whole
white people committing suicide.
No, I know. I know, but I don't know what led us to that point.
I don't either. Stream of consciousness. That's what's weird about this.
Yeah, that's what it is. Daniel and Gian Talk. Welcome back.
Yeah.
What else is going on in the news, though? Oh, you didn't answer my question. What do you think Trump has to do to not get himself reelected?
Well, I did answer that.
No, specifically, though.
No, I said cause a financial crash.
You did.
Yeah.
Well,
an utter, complete financial crash.
Don't you think he would blame someone else, though?
Honestly, I think here's my theory. I think he's already on thin ice with his constituents, but they're doubling down because they don't want to admit that they made the wrong decision, number one.
You don't think it's strengthening his party?
No.
Really?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all.
What about...
I think here's what I think is strengthening his party. Let me turn this off. I'm just going to turn this off. I think the poor quality of Democratic candidates...
Or the lack of knowledge of the candidates that are there.
Right.
Because I think there's candidates out there.
I mean, I'm sure there's someone out there who's got some good ideas for policy and whatnot, but I think, number one, they're focusing way too much on SJW stuff to put it nicely.
They're not playing Trump's game.
No, they're not.
which is attacking people and fucking like.
Not even I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to say that they're still doubling down on the equality representation.
I know, and
thing,
that's not going to work.
And they're not like, what you need to be doing is endearing yourself to those like lower middle class to poor white people that got Trump elected in the first place. Because as you can see, this other time around, I mean, black people didn't go to the polls this last election.
Because they weren't going to vote for Hillary.
They were going to vote for Hillary, no. You know, who knows how many brown people are actually legal to vote, you know.
I am.
But, and your generation of Latino people are more on the conservative side. Not you specifically, but they tend to lean more conservative.
I think it depends on where you're from, though.
You know, Texas, for example. I feel like there's a lot of Republican Latinos in Texas.
That's because they don't want to die, bro. They don't want to get deported. They got to fucking... Goddamn, America, of course. Like, they got to talk like that.
I'm just saying, there's a growing... We're at a certain point now where we're at generations where Mexican people are no longer Mexican.
But Texas almost went blue.
I mean,
it did.
In the major cities, because there's like, number one, Austin is all California transplants.
Fuck Austin. I'm tired of Austin. I'm so over that fucking city. It's expensive, and because you go to Texas and you're used to the cheap prices, you're used to finding parking places, you're used to like all this shit,
right.
And then you go. My reason why I say fuck Austin is if I'm gonna go to goddamn Texas, I want to see some hicks. Some fucking like, some fat ass overweight white people. Like I want to see all of that shit.
You want to see some belt buckles?
I don't want to go to
cowboy boots.
I don't want to see Los Angeles and Austin.
Okay,
and
fair
in
enough.
Texas.
Right.
I already see that here. I don't need any of that shit. And I'm surprised that they even survive out there because like I don't see how Texas didn't take that shit back like some Alamo shit. Just go in there and just for the Alamo and just fucking wipe all those hipsters out.
Well, because people in Austin are making all the money on that part of the state.
Maybe. Well, that's also where the capital is. So.
Yeah.
Which is ironic.
But all the tech companies are in Austin.
All the tech companies are in Utah.
There's some there too.
They're going to Utah. Utah is becoming the new Silicon Valley.
I mean, I keep hearing that about all over the place.
It is. One of my cousins lives right there. When she first moved there.
Okay, but Amazon opening a facility there doesn't mean new Silicon Valley. You know,
it's not just them. That's what I'm saying.
But who else? Like Apple opening an Apple campus there?
I don't know.
You know,
I'm speaking out of my ass.
Yeah.
I'm speaking out of my ass.
Like I don't count that if it's one of the major existing companies opening a campus there.
Well, they built freeways and highways, and if you've ever been to Utah, that's extremely uncommon. Just for this, they're building new like fresh structures. They have the roads are paved. I know you're like, okay, what is fucking? Have you ever been to Utah?
No, I've never been to Utah. I get what you're saying. And there's also part of
the
that
rent has skyrocketed.
Well, people are priced out. They're getting priced out of California. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. People are getting priced out, so they're going to start moving. Like, I don't know what the fate of California is because, especially if Gavin Newsom becomes, you know.
He is. What do you mean becomes? He is the governor.
He hasn't won yet. There hasn't been an election yet.
What was
That's
that?
A primary.
Oh, that wasn't the. I thought he was the fucking. Oh, well.
No.
Shows you how much I fucking pay attention.
Yeah. No, I think that's.
As if anyone else is gonna fucking win besides him.
Right.
Who's gonna win?
It's a weird place, man. It's just we're a weird place we're at right now, and I'm changing my political views overnight. You know.
I don't think it's overnight. I think it's been a long.
Well, it's gradual, obviously, but it's just stuff that bothers the shit out of me, man.
Like paying for a gas tax.
That's dumb. Which
has already been passed.
But there's other stuff like I have a big problem with, like letting foreign entities buy property, buy land here.
I don't consider that to be an issue, but I don't have enough knowledge or experience about it to truly comment on it. Because if America's free, are you saying that that freedom should only be allowed for Americans who live here?
That's where the heads are butting. Yes, absolutely.
Well, okay, but then how do you know that the people buying land aren't American?
Oh, because it's already, you can ask any real estate person out there.
But then shouldn't that also
There's a lot of money that they don't, that the money's in their country and they got to figure out, it's kind of a form of money laundering to a certain extent.
But isn't that a big government regulation? Here's what I mean. If I own a big piece of land, so if some Chinese dude comes and is like, I want to pay you 7 billion yen, which is I don't know how much in American.
You should be able to do whatever you want with your land because it's your land.
Yeah, don't you think?
Right.
No? You don't agree?
No.
So you think the government should be able to regulate a sale?
This is something I've been thinking about, man.
What about a company?
Companies for sure should not be allowed to sell
So like AMC should never been sold to China.
No.
Legendary should have never folded into China.
No.
Ever.
No.
China specifically, or any country?
Any country. You should not let.
No exceptions.
There should be a cap on how much outside foreign investment.
What if the government
is
approves
allowed.
of it?
There should still be. That's the government's job. They should be capping that.
So what if it's like,
look, man,
if you want to buy this
everything
company,
that you
have
should.
to pay.
This is what the government has done wrong, and why everything's all screwed here. The government's only job for me is to protect me and to make sure that I am doing well. I am prospering. So if you're allowing all these other foreign entities come on, and that affects my bottom line, that affects me from prospering, that's an issue.
But you're not white.
Okay.
That's the
well.
The parentheses that's really, really small fine print
In
and
this,
no one reads
in this
is like if you are white.
For the sake of this exercise, I am. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
I don't think, and it's funny with me that there's people that are like so pro-nationalism, but they're pro-capitalism, and they don't go hand in hand. They actually butt against each other. You can't be a capitalist and a nationalist at the same time, because for you to become the ultimate
that's my
capitalist,
point. That's what I'm saying. Shouldn't I be allowed to sell my land to whoever I want because it's the land of the free?
I mean, in theory, yeah, and that's what's going to cause the country to collapse. Because at the end, I started thinking about this when I went to Guatemala, and we started talking to people, and every single business was owned by Europe. Every single was owned by a European national. So it's like recolonization is basically what
That's
it is.
because America's too racist to go down there and buy all the property.
But I mean, they do that. America, you know how much? Costa Rica is probably like 70% American owned.
I've heard. My mom told me.
Yeah, so many people are going
They
down
have no
there
police and stuff.
and buying
still
houses
doesn't make
and
sense
stuff.
to me.
I
I
mean,
don't understand how that.
Someone's gonna get jacked one of these days.
I
right?
know. I don't understand how that makes sense. But
And it's a cycle. Do you know why people are going down to Costa Rica and buying houses?
because I don't know.
Because they can't afford to buy a retirement home here. That's the
Yeah,
only
but
reason
wouldn't you
why.
want to retire? Wouldn't you want to retire in Costa Rica?
Do you really want to go and retire?
Me? No. Fuck no.
I don't
like
think
bugs.
anyone-
I don't like bugs. I don't like.
I don't think anyone wants to retire in a foreign country where they don't know the
I don't
customs.
speak the language.
They don't speak the language. The food's different. It's not what they.
I don't
know.
want to. I don't want to live in a country where I don't know if people are talking shit about me or not.
I mean, and that's fair. That is absolutely fair. The reason why people are retiring,
Which is ironic because I live
Yeah.
in LA and I don't know if people
half
are
the
talking.
time you don't know if they're talking shit about you. People retire in other countries because they want to stretch out their retirement money. That's the only reason why.
Well, you've talked about going to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, because I want to stretch out the money I have
Well, it's also cheap as fuck.
to make it work.
It's cheap as fuck.
I mean, I'm completely on board. I've actually thought about this. There's a lot of property that people are buying. There's a whole area that's now all Americans right now.
Yeah, then you basically have like Argentina with the Germans.
There you
Then
go.
you can just hang out with the Americans.
Boom, all day. But I kind of want to push the thing where Puerto Ricans are going back and buying the property. Not going to happen because nobody cares.
Yeah, I mean,
But I think
what Puerto Ricans can afford that? First of all,
there's plenty of wealthy Puerto Ricans out there.
there's like 5 or 6.
Okay, and they have enough money to buy all the property on
And
it.
they're not even. They could probably buy the whole fucking island
Yeah.
if they came together, but they don't
Right.
want to because they don't care.
Look, got Mark Anthony, got Carlos Beltran, got J-Lo, you got Miguel Cotto.
J-Lo getting married to Alex Rodriguez.
There you go.
Alex Rodriguez, mad props to him. Steroids or not, he's still a role model, I think.
What do you think about A-Rod and Jose Canseco?
Well, before we get to that, I just want to make one comment about. I don't think living under Chinese rule would be that bad.
All right.
Because think about it. If Mexicans can only have one kid, how much better would LA be? I'm just saying. If China came to LA and like their first order of action was one child policy, LA might in a few generations save itself. just
Okay,
from
but
that.
this right here would go.
What?
We wouldn't be able to record a podcast.
Well, I mean, sure,
You
but
know.
that's why it wouldn't work. It would have to be like a joint effort
Your guns would be gone, all the guns that you have.
that I don't have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too. Whatever.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that would go by the wayside.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe that's how big of a deal it is, the overcrowding, that I'm willing to give away all of my liberties
Fair enough.
to see less fucking Mexicans on the street.
I mean, there is a chance of some sort of global catastrophe that will cause like a one nation,
Caused by Mexicans.
like one rule nation, you know, or one rule power, or whatever you want to call it. What's it called? You know, overseers of the entire world. It could happen.
It's already happening right now. The lizard people.
I mean, there you go.
The reptilians. Jose Canseco, Alex Rodriguez. I don't know, but I'd love to see them fight. I just love to see celebrities fight.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Alex Rodriguez doesn't know how to fight.
That's fine. Put them both on the juice. Give them both the juice. And then give them a retired UFC fighter in their corner to train them.
Jose Canseco is a trained martial artist.
Well, then Alex Rodriguez is fucked. It's just that simple then. Give Alex a bat. That's it.
Okay.
He can have a bat. Jose Canseco.
He's also 10 years younger than Jose Canseco, so he's got that going for him as well.
Yeah, but Alex is kind of pudgy now.
I think he's kind of a pussy, to be honest with you.
Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah,
I don't disagree with that.
I think he's the kind of guy where if your friends are getting into a fight, he like slowly like creeps out the exit and then he meets up with you afterwards. Like, what happened, dude?
I was there and then all of a sudden these people got in front of me
and I was like, outside. I got pushed outside and I was trying to fight my way back in. That's me. Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. No, that's not you. We already know. Like, we already know what happened with you. We don't have to ask you what happened. No one would even ask you what happened. They would just ignore you. That would just be we'd be talking amongst over here, and you'd just be there and nothing. Like no one would be like, Daniel, where were you at? No,
no one would be disappointed.
No, it's expected.
That's a good thing.
I mean, I feel like that's the thing that you got to love about certain people. Is like you know what you're gonna get with them, and I think that's why we keep certain people like that around in our lives because
you can rely on them to be themselves.
Exactly, where they're consistent. There's no like wild cards.
Don't expect them to defend yourself.
You know, your friend, your wife asks you, "Why the fuck do you keep this guy around all the time?" And it's like, well, because I know exactly what I'm gonna get from him, and I'm too old right now to start a new relationship with a fucking wild card who I don't know what's going on with this guy. He might be the greatest guy in the world. He also might be a psychopath. He also might rob me blind.
Could happen.
At the very least, I know that the $10 I'm giving Mike every day is, it's just $10.
That's true.
And he's never going to pay me back.
I will say, though, as a pussy as Alex Rodriguez may or may not be, he's still going to be married to J-Lo.
Hey.
And was she 50 now?
Hey, man, he's a handsome son of a bitch, dude.
She's beautiful
still. She is.
Still.
She is.
Still. Honestly, I think she is the most attractive woman of her age. And has not aged at all.
She's taking care of herself. I don't know what kind of she's getting blood transfusions
with little white boys or something.
Yeah, or something. She's like chilling
and no fucking surgeries to my knowledge either.
Right.
Her face isn't fucked up with fucking Botox and whatever.
If it is, she's doing enough where you don't notice.
The smallest amount.
Yeah.
She's paying. Her doctor must be, if it's true, is the most unknown doctor ever because no one else is. She found someone, grabbed them out of medical school and
that stuff. People are overdoing it with that shit so much that I think they are going for a specific look. It's a look now.
Dude, when I see fucking white people, I mean, I think the white people look the worst because I don't really see Mexicans with the fat lips.
They can't afford it.
This is probably true. And I'm not hating on Mexicans, even though I've been talking shit about Mexicans.
Well, also, Mexicans are racist, so they're
oh, you fucking look like
Joe, why would I want to have the big lips like some black girl? I'm not a black, I'm Mexican. Some media-related stuff here. Captain Marvel broke $1 billion in, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? I was not expecting that at all. I figured it was going to be... I knew it was going to do good. I didn't think it was going to do that good.
Oh, I personally thought it was going to have... I thought it was going to have the Black Panther effect for sure.
That's Black Panther light.
Well, it depends. We don't know where this is going to end up. I think it grossed more money so far than Black Panther did at this
maybe
if you were to compare the stages of release.
Maybe.
But I think without Wonder Woman, without Black Panther, you don't have Captain Marvel succeeding like this.
I mean, this has already made more money than Wonder Woman.
Which is and that's a DC film, and there's no built-up universe behind it. So you just imagine if they would have done the universe right, how it would have turned out to be. But the only thing that annoys me about Captain Marvel, and this is really the only thing I need to say about it, is people think that Captain Marvel is so successful because it's a woman's tale and all this stuff.
Right.
What annoys me about that is they're completely forgetting about the last fucking 15 years or whatever of foundation that was laid to start with, to fucking lead to this point to where Marvel can say, yeah, we're willing to throw $150 million on a female-led film with an actress that honestly is unproven, despite the fact that she was nominated for an Academy Award.
That means nothing.
I'm not taking it away from her. I'm just saying, in terms of box office numbers, she's unproven.
Right.
And you can't. It's like Black Panther.
Well, the film she got nominated for, nobody watched it. So.
Iron Man comes out. 6 months later, Captain Marvel comes out. Does it gross $1 billion?
No.
Did Iron Man gross $1 billion?
No, I don't
Prove
think it
my
has,
fucking point.
Yeah.
And because Iron Man, in my opinion, is still the best, if not, is one of the best, if not the best Marvel film to date. And if you watch that movie, it's unlike the Marvel movies now. But everything started from that.
Right.
So I'm just saying, Black Panther 6 months after Iron Man, does it gross $1 billion?
No. Especially because the social climate wasn't the same as it is now.
Thank Donald Trump for a lot of this shit.
Fair
I
enough.
think so. And to bring it back to Donald Trump, I'm glad that he got elected because it's fucking changed everything. It's changed everything. When we were in film school till now, I feel like America's completely just socially, in terms of just the way things are going socially, completely fucking changed. And Donald Trump really pushed us to that.
I don't think that's good, though.
I do.
You think it's good where we're going socially?
Yeah, because it's a pendulum. It'll go back. I don't think it'll get out of control.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean it's good. You're assuming it's going to
No, I'm assuming. Yeah, no, but I think the only way the way Americans work is you have to literally show them the problems in order for them to change it.
Okay.
And I think you expose enough people, it's just like Me Too. You expose enough people, it changes things. Right. Because Me Too. But what do you feel about Captain Marvel? You brought it up.
No, I think it's good. I think, I'm glad.
I'm excited for what, like seeing a Storm movie.
I am not. Yeah, I think I'm happy that Captain Marvel did well. I feel like Marvel's got a pretty good track record with their films so far.
They do now.
No
argument.
I think the first phase had pretty much the worst like run of films.
I think it's phase 2.
Or maybe phase 2. Well, let's see. Let's go through them. Phase 1, Incredible Hulk's terrible.
I think they regretted doing that movie. Out of all of them, I think that's the one that was like, if they would have waited or they would have changed, because that movie wasn't as bad as I think people remember, but it doesn't fit anything.
Right.
I mean, not only do you have Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, but it just doesn't fit like they didn't bring anybody back other than the General Ross.
Yeah.
In like Winter Soldier or something as a cameo. But like all of that story that they built there with the other fucking Hulk dude, the red one, whatever his name is, that
you mean Abomination?
Abomination, like they just
it hasn't been revisited,
which is unfortunate, I feel like. But anyway, what were you gonna say though?
No, I'm just saying, like, of all the films,
I like the first Captain America. You don't, but I really enjoyed the first.
It's in my lower tier.
I enjoyed Thor.
I enjoyed Thor, yeah.
Obviously Iron Man is Iron Man.
Iron Man, yeah, but Iron Man 2 is part of the first phase.
It is,
as well.
and it was shit.
It was shit.
Not compared to Iron Man 3 though, in my opinion. I think if you
you think Iron Man 2 is better than Iron Man 3?
Absolutely, yeah. And then Avengers is great.
Yeah.
Period.
Avengers is great.
I haven't watched it since fucking 2013, 2012, whenever it came out.
Right.
But I remember those feelings of like seeing these people on screen together.
It was great. Awesome. It was a great feeling. And then you get phase 2. What are the bad ones in phase 2? Thor 2, which I feel like...
okay. Thor 2, maybe not.
People
maybe
hate
I'm wrong.
Thor. People hate I think the worst part of the second phase is Age of Ultron. That one.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 and Age of Ultron, those were like big ass turkeys.
I don't think Age of Ultron was that bad.
I remember hating it.
See, I didn't hate Age of Ultron. I didn't like it because it didn't connect the films as well as Avengers did.
And I think the problem with Age of Ultron is also they fired like all the Marvel writers.
Oh, they fucked up. I mean, they didn't fuck up, but like that's when they decided we're going this route, not this route.
And I think in the long term, it was a smart decision.
Yeah.
But at that time, so it felt disconjointed because it was like Joss Whedon was half in, half out.
It was a Justice League, but at least the talent was good enough to where it didn't turn out to be Justice League.
Right. And then this third phase, honestly, the only one that I remember being a turkey for me was Ant-Man and Wasp. That's probably
which I haven't even seen either of any of the Ant-Mans.
And for me, the reason why that movie was so bad is because it came after Infinity War.
Black Panther for me.
It just kind of, well, yeah, Black Panther. Not my favorite either. I mean, we have a whole podcast dedicated to it. That for me is definitely the most overrated Marvel film of all of the Marvel films to drop. I'm not, I don't.
I like Captain Marvel better than Black Panther, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
I think I like Black Panther a little more than Captain Marvel, but that's just me. I think like Wakanda.
I know, you like Killmonger.
Yeah, I love Killmonger. But I think like Wakanda, that whole just a presentation of Wakanda, and
there's definitely a lot of cool shit.
There's a lot of cool characters in it. What the biggest flaw for Black Panther to me
was the story.
Was the story. Yes, and was the fact that the movie's called Black Panther, and he was the least important person in that movie. Like he garners no sympathy, whatever.
It's not about Black Panther.
And that's just, and the huge, for me, I think it's a plot flaw, maybe not a plot hole, but, I just don't understand why you keep defending Killmonger's traitorous dad and instead shit on your own dad's memory. Like, hey, everybody, let's not fucking tell the truth and say, hey, the reason why he's not part of this kingdom is because his dad's a fucking traitor. It's instead like, oh, how could T'Chaka do this? And even fucking Forrest.
Because you're not black, bro. You don't fucking understand.
I guess.
Not even in the comic book world can you understand the plight of made up fucking black people.
Right. Well, in the comic world, it's exactly what happens. The whole family gets excommunicated, and then Killmonger comes back.
Because that would make fucking sense.
Yes, exactly.
That's why.
Exactly. And not this big secret, which is what it is.
And I still don't know why they killed Andy Serkis, because I thought he was fucking the best part of the movie.
He was definitely one of the strongest.
He could have turned into a fucking good villain.
Yeah.
That's why. I don't want to talk about any of this anymore, because we're supposed to wrap this up, and we'll keep talking for hours. But
right.
Well, I just want to say, I
kind of wanted to talk about Us as well, since
Did you see it?
I haven't seen it.
But we can finish with Us.
Yeah.
I wish that Marvel would not kill their villains at the end of every one of their intro movies like they did with Michael Keaton. I'm glad they didn't kill Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Because I thought Michael Keaton was a great villain.
He was.
I fucking enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed his character. I enjoyed the story of Homecoming. I enjoyed, it was a great
Let me tell you something about Homecoming. All right. When I saw it in theaters the first time, I was like, it's all right. I've watched it again twice. I love that movie. Legitimately, that movie is so much better on second viewing. It's a great movie. I think a lot of people are sleeping on it because they've only seen it the one time in the theater. It's way better than a lot of the stuff.
My mom liked it, and she doesn't care for that shit.
It's a great movie. I think another one, Thor 2, a lot of people need to go and rewatch Thor Ragnarok, or Thor 3, Thor Ragnarok, because
that's a good one. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's great. It's a perfect fucking movie,
They don't kill Loki. They didn't kill Loki. I'm glad you brought
Yeah.
That's my point. The villains they don't kill, they come back and become better villains. Do villains die in the comic books? No.
No, they always come back. Yeah.
Why wouldn't Andy Serkis come back later on? Or fucking, these people, and they could be bit players. You could literally
it's because it's for the sense of realism. They still want to keep it realistic,
I think that's stupid.
And it's like, dude, we got people flying around. We got people with superpowers. We got people,
At some point, the universe needs to become a comic book universe.
Yeah.
I feel like.
And maybe that's what happens in this next phase. I swear to God, if they kill Doctor Doom in the first movie he's in, I'm gonna be hot. They're doing a great thing with Thanos, how they stretched him out. There's that whole phase where we don't see him at all, and we completely forget about Thanos, and then they bring him back. But this Thanos that we've been presented now, he needs to.
What if he doesn't die?
Well, he can die. He can die, I think. But they'll find a way to resurrect him.
He has to die. Yeah. He can't not die. See, but that'd be cool resurrection too. Phase Saga 2, the second series.
Yeah.
Where I don't know who would be the ultimate baddie of that. Who would it be? Who's the ultimate baddie?
Well, they have
Magneto.
You got Galactus. You have, which is that's an entire universe, which is another Thanos type villain.
So you think only celestial beings can be ultimate baddies?
You got your domestic one would be Doctor Doom. You got your Doctor Doom.
He's bigger than Magneto?
No, I think Doctor Doom and Magneto are pretty paralleled in classic villains for Marvel. Magneto. The Magneto that we saw in Age of Apocalypse that everybody hates is my favorite Magneto, because everything that he stands for makes sense.
Oh, I love fucking, and I hope that fucking.
They bring him along.
That they bring Michael Fassbender to the Marvel Universe. I fucking hope.
Right.
That's my biggest hope of all. I like James McAvoy as Professor X. I do. I have no problem with, and I enjoy them on screen together.
But if they recast him, you're not gonna
But Michael Fassbender, I hope, and
Yeah.
I fucking hope that when they bring Deadpool 2, that Ryan Reynolds goes,
Right.
and that Ryan Reynolds comments on that shit too.
Oh yeah, he's
Like-
got to break the fourth wall.
And if he does, that's brilliant. But anyway, yeah, I think we. What do you want to talk about us? You wanted to bring, or did you have something else to say?
No. Oh, I wanted to talk about Endgame tickets. Like,
Oh,
it's insanity. That I saw so many posts yesterday about people waiting in line. This is just to watch it on Thursday, right?
just on Thursday.
Yeah.
And you're not, and what you're not mentioning is every theater has screenings at 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m. That's still considered a Thursday night screening.
Yeah.
Of a 3-hour movie. I mean, they release ticket packages to show the movie at 5 p.m. and they cost like 2 or 3 times as much. There's tickets right now on eBay that are going for $500 on opening day, just a regular fucking ticket. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I didn't even know they went on sale yesterday, and I thankfully AMC Stubs, A-lister, a totally free promotion. Great, I was able to get tickets, but like to a 1 a.m. screening, non-IMAX, like you can't. IMAX is like completely sold out for the
Right.
next few days, like after when it's released. Like,
That's insane, man. Because I think the trailers have sucked. Like,
I think,
I haven't seen this last trailer, but
haven't either.
the first 2 trailers they dropped was like,
What are you gonna? You can't spoil it though.
right, but
I am worried though. I am worried. I'm really worried about the movie. I'm worried that it's not gonna be. I might be disappointed, but because Infinity War, I felt the same way about it, and they were able to fucking they got it.
yeah.
It brings that like worry down a little bit, but genuinely, because we always talk about this, and Game of Thrones comes out this month.
Next Sunday.
I'm worried that they're gonna drop the ball on the finales for things, because how many times do we talk? How many fucking season finales? Or I know that television it's different, but how many third installments, final installments of something
Right.
pan out to be as good as they? Toy Story 3 is one of the only ones I can think of.
And they decided to make another one.
So it's technically not
Honestly,
the end.
I don't think it's going to suffer from that per se, because we know it's not the end of the universe. Like, we know there's a new phase coming out. So it's not a finite ending where we're like, okay, I'm good with never watching this again. You know, like
this is gonna be the
every question that you have doesn't necessarily need to be 100% resolved.
But my counter to that is Captain America's not coming back, and Iron Man's not coming back. I don't know that for sure, but I would assume that those people are not going to live to see another day. If that's the case, you got to send them off appropriately.
Right.
You can't fucking pull a Princess Leia like they did in Star Wars. I'm being dead serious, because would you be pissed if fucking, I don't know, I'm just making it up, just totally making this up. But like they don't rescue Iron Man in time and he dies out there floating in space.
Yeah.
And then fucking, 2.5 hours in the movie, they revive him for some reason, and like that stuff like that would annoy me.
That's a boner dropper.
Something like, I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen, but like something that doesn't, because in Leia, she survived space.
What do you?
It's a Disney movie too, so that's
Right.
why I'm like.
But these guys are done. I could see, here's my conspiracy theory. Robert Downey Jr. is not going to be doing this anymore. I could see him uploading his consciousness to his servers.
And he becomes the suit.
So the suit, like,
is Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. There's always like,
he's the new Jarvis.
Yeah.
And he can communicate to people.
Yeah.
And he's dead.
So he's like never on screen. All he has to do is
they
like,
could just regurgitate old dialogue lines.
or no, he just shows up, records like audio, collects his $1 million to do that, and just keeps on living his life, for the rest of as long as this goes on. That I could see something like that happening. How they get rid of Cap, I don't know.
He has to be the one that kills Thanos.
He should also die doing it or something. I don't know.
He holds,
and we know Chris Evans is done. Like he's been
vocal about it for
a while.
While.
He's done because he is done. He doesn't want to do it anymore. And I think at this point,
and I respect that.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think you like recast that character either. Like you let him off.
Let Captain America be Captain America.
You let him right off into the sunset. Because let's be completely honest here. As someone who reads comics, as someone who's a fan of this kind of stuff for years now, Captain America and Iron Man are only big now because Marvel didn't have the rights to the rest of their universe. And they're big because of that.
I mean,
now that you have the X-Men, now that you have the Fantastic Four, now that you're working with Sony with Spider-Man, you know.
the fucking Black Sabbath song was bigger than the fucking character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Captain America, no, because Captain America is 100% associated with Americana.
Right.
You know, he beat up Hitler. Like, that was the whole thing.
But even then, like, if we're just going by comic sales, he was...
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying, in terms of all of their. That's why what Marvel did was so fucking cool, because Thor, yeah, you know who he is, but people might know him more from Norse mythology than fucking comic book mythology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like they got all these nobodies, with the exception of the Hulk, because the Hulk is by far the biggest character out of that whole bunch in the original run, in my opinion. I don't know about comic sales, but in terms of...
No, I agree with you. He's the most visually, like...
But recognizable. He had the show. He already had his movie before, you know. But anyway, I don't know. I'm excited either way. I'm like looking forward to it. It's gonna suck going in this new universe, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But let's table Us for next week. Maybe I'll watch it by then, and we'll. I mean, that can open up a whole new can of worms for hours. But that's gonna do it for us, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to us. If you're listening to us on iTunes or SoundCloud, make sure to leave a comment. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I don't know how iTunes works anymore. If you haven't left a 5-star review, please do. It helps other people find the show. And we're gonna be back on a weekly, regular basis here. Maybe if we actually start making money, it'll be more than that. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Let us know what you think of our welcome back episode, and we'll see you next time.